Hi everyone, it's Emma here, and today I'm talking through what is the main cause of interstitial cystitis. So with interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, there's often not one clear cause, and you'll read that a lot if you read online about this condition. But that's not to say there's not a number of contributing factors. So I'm just going to dive straight in and talk through some of these very variable factors and different factors that could be combining in order to contribute to this condition. So number one, we have infection. Now it's less likely to be a clear infection as opposed to a traditional case of cystitis, but it is however quite likely that there could be kind of low grade, more minor infections or longer term infections that have perhaps been missed over time, and they have then given rise to inflammation, or we've not recovered properly from an infection, or there's been a history of antibiotics, and all these things can risk throwing off the balance of bacteria over time, perhaps just at a lower grade, but this can over time build and give rise to underlying inflammation. If there is likely to be some sort of infection and underlying, that's where your urvaria and echinacea can come in, which is licensed for symptoms of cystitis, urinary symptoms relating to cystitis. Number two, we have a bit of a digestive link as well. So this is something really to explore with interstitial cystitis. So this could be, some signs that this could be underlying could be with food triggers. You could have been told that you've got SIBO or fungal infections underlying. Dehydration can also contribute to digestive symptoms such as constipation, which can then have a structural and or chemical influence on our bladder. And the other one to mention with digestion is stress, as stress can really impact your digestion, and that can have a bit of a domino effect and a link there. But there could also be an immune element going on as well. Sometimes autoimmune is suspected, remembering that 80% of our 80% of our immune system lives in our digestive system. So digestion and immune are also quite closely related. For the digestive side of things, if you were keen to target that area, something like our mulkazan, which acts as a prebiotic, might be one to try and introduce to see how you get on, and that could be combined with a probiotic, a good quality probiotic, for example, as well. Number three, I have a lot of the structural things to consider. So of course this wouldn't be anything that we could help with. This would be something that a physical therapist of some sort would be able to help with potentially, but there's so many different areas and different types of physical issues that could be contributing. So you have muscles, your pelvic floor muscles, and for example, they can actually be too restrictive or too loose. There can be different things going on there. We can have nerve issues, we can have alignment issues with your spine that structurally has an influence. There could be prolapse in women, enlarged prostate in men. All of these can impact the bladder and how the bladder works, how it empties, and how much underlying inflammation there is. There could be very specific damage to the bladder lining, the epithelium, and that again would be something your doctor would need to diagnose. But that is that whole structural element that could be contributing, and that could be giving rise to those long-standing recurrent issues if something structural is underlying. Number four, I have hormones as well. This again is something to consider if your symptoms are quite long-term, long-standing, but if you notice any patterns, for example monthly patterns with PMS, could be menopause. As you enter perimenopause, you notice your symptoms are flaring up, and we need to remember that imbalances in hormones can often give rise to inflammation and could affect other areas, especially considering that our hormone receptors, estrogen receptors and things, line almost every system of our body as well. And when our hormones are out of balance, this does create inflammation, and histamine is the other one that's quite often thought to be a part of it, and that's got links with that immune reaction as well that we mentioned could be underlying. fifth and final point I just quickly want to mention is potential side effects of medications. And the side effects of medications can be quite far reaching and may not be your typical ones. So things like diuretics, for example, would be potentially quite obvious to have an effect on the bladder, but actually other medications such as antihistamines, even decongestants, things like that potentially could impact the bladder. So again, trying to detect patterns and just consider every possible contributing factor, and if you're on medications, always refer to the PIL for the full list of side effects. So fingers crossed that has helped give you an overview of just some of the common causes that can give rise to this very variable condition. Please do leave any comments or questions below, and if you are watching on YouTube, please do subscribe to our Avogo YouTube channel so you'll be notified of any future videos. Thanks.